Welcome to another installment of r/Pettyrevenge, where today a pregnant coworker gets her just desserts. As always, if you like these videos and feel like supporting me, please hit that like button and consider subscribing, as this all really helps my channel grow and pushes me to create more videos. Our first story was posted by ASDF_QWERT27. Roommate was stealing my marked leftovers. Made a chocolate cake with habanero peppers. Labeled it with my name. And wrecked his world. Title is pretty straightforward, but I'll elaborate. My old college roommate didn't know how to cook or do dishes, and didn't go food shopping much. This led him to eating my food, especially my leftovers, as those were prepared meals. I would use my leftovers to meal prep for the week, and I told him to stop as it was expensive as well as inconvenient. The behavior did not stop, and he actually seemed to be eating more of my food out of spite. To punish him, I baked a chocolate cake with habanero peppers and mixed the frosting with wasabi. I labeled it with my name and a bold "do not eat" and waited. This guy has a very low tolerance for spicy foods, so I thought he would take one bite and quickly realize the error of his ways. About 2 days later, him and a couple of his friends got really drunk while I was at work and decided to dig into my food. Somehow, they ate about a third of it before realizing. And when they inevitably went to throw up from over drinking and eating spicy foods, got hit by the cake a second time. Don't know for sure, but it couldn't have felt good coming out the back end. When he asked me why I made this monstrosity, I told him I found a chocolate habanero recipe online that I wanted to try. He stopped eating my cooking after that. This revenge is definitely justified. I hate it when people steal my food. Just ask if you want to eat it. And secondly, how do you not realize you're eating a spicy cake until you eat about a third of it? Our next story was posted by Sumo Ninja 17. If it's not here by 5, I'm not paying for it. Years ago, I drove a tow truck and we delivered a lot of cars to dealers. One little dealership was notorious for having jerks working there. It was like all the high school bullies got back together and opened a car lot. Got a call on a Friday after lunch from a client asking me to deliver a car to the dealership. And they had to have it before 5 p.m. or they didn't have to pay for it. And by pay for it, I mean the car and the tow bill. This would be no problem. The car was a couple blocks from me and the dealer was about a mile away. I went and hooked the car and headed to the dealer. It was 3:30 p.m. when I left my office. I get to the dealership and go in to find someone to sign for it. No one would sign and they told me to just park it around back. Knowing what jerks these guys were, no way was I going to leave it there without being able to prove they got it before 5. I talked to the new car manager, used car manager, service manager, and finance manager. No one would sign for it, and they were taunting me, almost looking for a fight. I dropped the car and drove it up to their front door, got out and locked it. Backed up and looked at the crew inside laughing. I backed up another couple steps and threw the key onto their roof. They lost their poop. I waved and left. I was back in my office in less than 5 minutes. By this time, it's about 4:45. I walk in and my boss was on the phone and laughing. He called me right into his office and put the call on speaker. Our client was on the phone, as was the GM from the dealer. The GM was a lunatic about his showroom being blocked by the car and me tossing the keys on the roof. My client and boss knew these guys were jerks and wanted to know what happened. I told them no one would sign for the car and it had been there before 5. GM said, right. I said, so it's before 5 and you're calling to complain the car is blocking your showroom? GM says, yes. At this point, my boss, the client, Mike, and I were laughing hysterically. The GM got madder until I could catch my breath and call his crew out for not signing it. They were going to say the car got there after 5, so they didn't have to pay if I didn't have proof of delivery. That's kind of hard to do because the GM was on the phone at 4:45 complaining about the car on his lot. That dealer treated their customers the same way they tried to treat me. Less than 2 years later, the building was a mattress store. TLDR, had to get a car to a dealer before 5 or they didn't have to pay. They tried to get it without signing and I threw the keys away, making them admit they had it and had to pay for it. Now that's a level of pettiness I aspire to be. I would have never thought to throw the keys on the roof. Our next story was posted by When Faith Dies. So this was a while ago, and my native language isn't English, so the dialogue might not be 100%. Sorry for that. I was about 18 or 19 at the time, and babysat our neighbor's 3-year-old boy. He loved animals. It was the middle of spring, so nice and warm. So I decided to ask his mother if it would be fine to take him to a petting zoo in the city. Everyone was excited, me included, so we went. We had a ton of fun. He got a large amount of animal feed so he could enjoy himself. Nothing was weird up until this point. Nobody was staring, and I felt it was pretty obvious that I wasn't in fact his mother, but rather than that, just babysitting him. Now came the time the little guy needed to pee. Not a problem, I thought to myself, so I took him to the toilets. There was a large line in front of the women's bathroom, but since I had to accompany him because he was too young to use the adult toilets himself, we couldn't just go to the men's bathroom, which was empty. I figured waiting in line for a minute or two was not going to be an issue though. Entered Karen. Hi, excuse me. She tapped me on the shoulder. Yes? I thought since she had a little girl with her, she might just wanted to ask to skip ahead in line because her little girl needed to pee badly. Is that your child? Oh no, this is my neighbor's child. I'm just babysitting today. Why the F are you taking him to the bathroom then? She got very aggressive straight away. Excuse me? He needs to use the restroom, and is clearly too young to do so by himself. So obviously I'm accompanying him. What am I supposed to do, just let him pee his pants? This is highly inappropriate. Only his parents should accompany him to the restroom. He is a boy, and on top of that, not even your child. God knows what you might do in there with him. Okay, so now I was getting kind of mad. At that point in my life, I had dealt with a lot of BS from people. Since I was a nurse and people in the hospital tend to be entitled as heck when they don't get their way. I was absolutely capable of defending myself with words, and I already lost my temper with her being so rude. So I said very loudly, "You think I would look at his body in there? Ew, what the hell? Why do you have to make a bathroom trip with a small child explicit? Do you think about that when you take your girl to the bathroom? Oh my god, would you do stuff to your girl? Ew, that is disgusting. Why would you even think about something like that when thinking about a little boy going to the bathroom?" Now, I said all these things very sarcastically as it was just meant to scare her off. But obviously, I said it loud enough for a lot of people to hear. Now, everyone looked at her disgusted and whispered or even chimed in with me to tell her thinking stuff like that was disgusting and that she should leave me alone. She looked mortified at this point and just backed away and left. Moral of the story: please let people take children to the bathroom peacefully, because I couldn't have just let the little boy pee his pants. At the bottom, OP mentioned that she's from Germany, and that makes me conflicted because I don't know if I should be happy or sad that Karens are worldwide and not just exclusively in North America. Our next story was posted by Alex Sang That. Pregnant coworker gets her just desserts. So I work in this small, family-owned office that runs 24/7. There's about 25 employees total, but in the office there's only like 12 of us. The rest work off-site. There's a woman who works here. We'll call her Jill. Jill is almost 40 and has been here about 10 years. For reference, I have been here just over 4 years. Since I have been hired, and from what I hear from her entire employment, she has never agreed to switch shifts with anyone. Not once. Not a single time has she ever done anyone a favor, no matter what. Yet she has no issue constantly asking other people to switch shifts with her. A year into my employment, my brother needed emergency surgery, and I begged her to cover my shift the next day. And all she said was, "Sunday's my only day to sleep in. Sorry." I never forgot that. Whatever, she's not obligated to switch shifts. It's her prerogative if she wants to be universally disliked by our entire office. Anyway, Jill got pregnant about 7 months ago, completely accidentally, and was actually quite freaked about it for a while. She's pretty much been nauseous her entire pregnancy and even keeps a trash can next to her desk just in case she can't make it to the bathroom. Yesterday, she was feeling really sick, and around 12:30 p.m., she asked our boss if she could leave early. He told her she could only leave if she could get someone to agree to finish her shift. Our shifts are mainly 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., 3 p.m. to 11 p.m., and 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., with periodic split shifts thrown in as needed. I was working morning yesterday, scheduled to leave at 3 p.m., and she was scheduled until 7 p.m. The only other person who could have stayed for her had plans right after his shift, so I was her only option. She waited until 2:45 p.m. and then sauntered up to my desk, puppy dog eyes fully engaged, and asked me to stay for the rest of her shift because she was feeling really ill. Now, I'm on Reddit a lot, and I never forgot the post about the rude manager refusing to allow her employee to be at her dying son's bedside. There's a line in that text exchange that I love and have been waiting for this perfect moment to use, and this was it. I swiveled to face her, looked her right in her eyes, trailed my eyes down to her bulging, unplanned pregnant stomach, and pointedly say, "A lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part," and just swiveled right back and continued working without another word. It was glorious. Her face instantly dropped. It looked like someone farted into her mouth the way it twisted. She didn't say a thing and just waddled away back to her desk, absolutely furious. 15 minutes later, I stand up and loudly announce my departure and that if anyone needs me, I'll be at home taking a nap. I hated working with people that would never trade shifts with you. Haven't you ever heard, "You scratch my back, I scratch yours"? It doesn't hurt to have someone owe you a favor. Everyone should participate in some healthy give and take. Otherwise, you'll experience a story much like this. And no, you won't be telling it from OP's perspective. That concludes another episode of r/Pettyrevenge. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe, as this all really helps my channel grow and pushes me to create more videos. Also, I'll be posting videos every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, so turn on notifications to be notified for my next video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.